Hey, how's it going? I'll just back in with another sequence of the end times video. So going through the Apocrypha, and I found this one as well in 2 Maccabees 12:15-31. And so verse 15, but Judas and his men calling upon the great sovereign of the world. And so this is a reference to calling upon the name of the Lord, to be saved. So right off the bat, we have a reference to salvation for God's elect. Now in verse 16, so that the adjoining lake a quarter of a mile wide appeared to be running over with blood. And so this is one of the plagues in Revelation 16. And this is actually in verse 16. So it gives us a clue. And so this is the time of the Great Tribulation, which is plagues and which is the wrath of God. Okay. But the elect are taken away prior to that. And then now we have a reference in the last days of Christ returning with his elect to, destroy everybody with the mark of the beast. And so the title of this section is Judas defeats Timothy's army. Verse 17, when they had gone 95 miles from there, they came to Charax, to the Jews who are called Tubiani. They did not find Timothy in that region, for he had by then left there without accomplishing anything, though in one place he had left a very strong garrison. Dositheus and Sosipater, who were captains under Maccabees, marched out and destroyed those whom Timothy had left in the stronghold, more than 10,000 men. But Maccabees arranged his army in divisions, set men in command of the divisions, and hurried after Timothy, who had with him 120,000 infantry and 2,500 cavalry. So this is the battle in the last days of Christ and his elect against the people of the earth. When Timothy learned of the approach of Judas, he sent off the women and the children and also the baggage to a place called Carnaeum, for that place was hard to besiege and difficult of access because of the narrowness of all the approaches. These are skilled fighters, of course, the Israelites. Verse 22, but when Judas's first division appeared, terror and fear came over the enemy at the manifestation to them of who sees all things. In their flight, in the last days, they rushed headlong in every direction, so that often they were injured by their own men and pierced by the points of their own swords. Judas pressed the pursuit with the utmost vigor, putting the sinners to the sword, and destroyed as many as 30,000. So Judas, in this case, is a righteous Israelite. And so they're going to use their own technology against them in the last days, but of a spiritual nature. And so it's not even going to be a fair fight, in the last days. But there's a mass killing happening here. Verse 26, then Judas marched against Carnaeum and the temple of Atargatis and slaughtered 25,000 people. After the rout and destruction of these, he marched also against Ephron, a fortified town where Lysias lived with multitudes of people of all nations. Okay, so in the last days, this is everybody on earth with the mark of the beast, and this is in verse 77. So this is being done with Christ and his elect. Stalwart young men took their stand before the walls and made a vigorous defense, and great stores of war engines and missiles were there. Okay, so it's just killing everywhere. But the Jews called upon the sovereign, who with power shatters the might of his enemies. Okay. And they got the town into their hands and killed as many as 25,000 of those who were in it. So again, this is all in the last days. This is Christ returning with his elect, to destroy. And it's just going to be killing, mass killing, blood everywhere. Now we have a coded reference to the kingdom. Verse 29, setting out from there, they hastened to Scythopolis, which is 75 miles from Jerusalem. But when the Jews who lived there bore witness to the goodwill that the people of Scythopolis had shown them and their kind treatment of them in times of misfortune, they thanked them and exhorted them to be well disposed to their race in the future also. Okay. Then they went up to Jerusalem as the festival of weeks was close at hand. And so this is now a time where they're honoring, God's religious events. And then this is coded reference to the language, to the kingdom where, all those are ultimately going to serve the Israelites. And those that were kind to them will be rewarded, and that kind of thing. And so, and all that weren't are being destroyed, okay, in the verses prior. So 2 Maccabees 12:15-31 gives us a sequence again. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.